This is just us. I like the idea myself. Hi, everybody. Hi, chat room. Hello. Give us a second. We will figure stuff out. What's going on? And that's you. Huh? You do have them. You have them. I mean, I've got mine, and I'll plug them in a second. But I was just, yeah. I'm just listening right now. This is good. Your mic is you. Welcome to the show, everybody. How are you? Glad. I don't even know if my mic's live. It must be. Hi, there I am. Now I'm live. There you go. This is what happens when we roll in. All we see is your teeth, so you need to like tilt that somehow so we can see you.
Where am I?
See, look at that. That's you're part. It's set on Hal height, and that's not gonna work with you. That's good. Welcome, everybody. So glad you can join us, and so glad, quite frankly, that we can join each other. I mean, honestly, here we are. It's me and Johnny Million, and we're in the same room together with Devin, and it's just exciting. And for the first time in ages upon ages upon ages. Oh, and Lady B's in there. I can't believe it. She's in another room, hermetically sealed in there, dealing with callers, which we may or may not have contact with today. We shall see what we shall see. Johnny's setting up his camera. It's a good time. Hi, everybody. So glad to be here. I just feel like, post peak COVID, because I feel like
There's still some.
Yeah, and this is a good time as any, I think, folks, to as we're all joining here, and I'm moving my laptop around, so hopefully I don't spill some of this. But yeah, it's much better. Yeah, it's good. Here we are live at WCPT, and hello everyone who's joining us via the interwebs, wherever you may be. I think a lot of people are having a difficult time discussing what phase of the pandemic we are currently in.
Are we coming out of it?
Are we in? Is it because
the great reopening?
Right, or is it the great peeking out the door and seeing if coast is clear, which is the third? Yeah. And it's and in many ways, I think the cautious among us are taking our time with this, not getting our hopes up too high, looking at this with a realistic view as best we can, honoring the science, but also not trying to overwhelm ourselves with fear at the same time, lowering our immune response through stress. I feel like some people are almost at the tipping point, and this is not scientific, I'm being silly, but work with me on this, that there's a tipping point where you're so stressed out, your immune response is shut down, to even if you are vaccinated. Like, I'm worried that you're going to get everything else. Like, you'll get cat leukemia just because you're so nervous, right? Because we were talking about cats earlier, because we were sharing cat pictures.
It looks like I'm
and stuff.
facing away from you now.
I know. That's why I was going to slowly but surely move my laptop over to this side, so it looks like we're going this way. But also, I think we can switch positions or something. I got to figure out how that works. If I turn this one off and then I add it. No, yeah, there you go. And then I add it. There we go. Now we're looking at. Hey, it works. Now it makes sense. Oh gosh, I'm just quite frankly.
We're so close to each other. This is.
I know, it's so weird. And Hal Vickery, thank you for the super chat. So look at that. I can actually touch Johnny, even though it doesn't look like we can. So I think a lot of people are in this hopeful phase, really looking down the barrel of what life might look like on the other side of it. But then every time I think about this, I look at the history around the Spanish flu, because that's the nearest thing besides the White Plague, which is, by the way, has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk, weirdly enough, or Nick Fuentes, or Tucker Carlson. The White Plague, yes. I would say that our modern experience with the White Plague, of course, is Fox News from 5 p.m. to 9 nightly. But what it was before was, of course, the tuberculosis epidemic. The people who are clamoring today about lack of freedoms and government overreach, snatching people up because they were coughing into a rag on a train, and swifting them away to a sanatorium to see, until.
The people that are doing their own research seem to be doing some selective viewing.
Oh, indeed they do. And they're not alone, though, because during the Spanish flu, there were anti-mask events. There were people. There were.
Oh, yeah, there are parades.
Yeah, and those people ended up spiking the death rate into the second year. It's almost as if, gee whiz, if we refuse to learn from our own history. And again, I think there's a lot of shocking aspects of dealing with the anti-maskers and the anti-vaxxers and the crisscross between the two, and the fact that they believe that they're being stifled. Freedom is being stolen from them. They're being choked to death by the great machine of tyranny that is, of course, their democratically elected governance that
So they would have you believe.
set rules in place. Well, I'm even going back decades. Set rules in place where when you have a health emergency along these lines, you have the ability. Thank you very much for the cheers, More Fallon on Twitch. These rules were set in place to protect the public because it's not like we haven't seen this before. And the minute you start talking about the next possible pandemic, because we are a globally connected community of human beings on this planet, that's when they're like, well, this is just New World Order stuff at this point. This is how they're going to take over. They're just going to use this as a pretext. They're testing the waters, right? This is how they get us. This is how they're going to get us. And I like, as you often do, I like to put on my "What if I were evil" hat.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a thought experiment.
Like, what if there were things about me to find out?
Yes, right. that I didn't know. That I dig deep down inside myself and I'm like, wow, that's evil, right? Luckily, I have not found anything. I've found quite a few naughty things, but nothing.
Naughty is so different from evil.
No, it's very different.
So few dead puppies.
That's right. Yeah.
Practically none.
No, practically no dead puppies in your naughtiest reflexes. And if it does die, it was an accident. Because you're like, is it possible to tickle something to death?
That's right.
Or, you know
I
what
just
mean?
love that puppy too hard.
That's right. It was too much. So this is going in a very dark
Oh my
place.
God.
We might actually find something. But the point being,
Why am I sweating?
I don't know. Same reason the dog is. That's right. So we should do this together more often.
think
I like
so.
that. So, but I was saying this the other day when somebody were talking about like the Bill Gates thing, that they're going to kill everybody through inoculation. And do you understand that there are 7-odd billion people on the planet? Right? You do the evil math. And if your idea, in theory, was to wipe out a massive amount of the populace, squeezing it down to just the few you think are worth saving.
Why would you kill the people that agree to a vaccine?
That's right. Why would you, the people who are like, I think it's every so often.
What do you want me to do?
Right.
Okay, I'll get your shot.
Yeah, right.
You don't want to kill
That
them.
person,
you
right.
don't want a whole bunch of
I'll get a
fuzzies.
shot. I'd like to go back to work where I can produce things that are valuable to everyone around me and feed my family, make sure my kids get a good education. No. Those are the first people you want to wipe out. The people you want to save are the lunatic people who would follow Donald Trump.
Money.
That's right. I'm not going to take no demon injection. There's an octopus in the vaccine. Can you imagine a world where those are the only survivors? Now you
All of
could.
them have Southern accents.
Yes, right. Yeah, but the ones I know do. And I know a lot of them. Now, you would think that, getting enough needles, convincing all those people to get killed, like this is your plan. That's a lot of work. Whereas some lunatic wannabe Unabomber Dumbo with a CRISPR-Cas9 setup in his garage could just create a virus that only he has the vaccine to, and it's just him and his dog, at the end, some sort of apocalyptic video game life that he's created for himself. So it confuses me.
They don't think it all the way through.
No, it doesn't seem like they do. It does not. And so I am constantly amazed that this is the thought. This is the belief. This is how they they really think it's gonna work. They think this is how, Bill Gates and the UN and everything's an extrapolation. Remember Jade Helm? Remember when the UN shock troops were inside the country during the Obama years, and they were practicing in Texas? Yes, they're rounding everybody up, and after Katrina, Alex Jones stumbled on this fact that they had these big plastic containers that
He
were
had like satellite pictures, right?
yes,
Yeah.
and that there were stacks of coffins for all the patriots.
Oh my God.
And the coffins for the patriots, if you don't know, were basically corpse storage containers, because during Katrina they had so many body bags, they stacked them up that some people couldn't have a funeral for their relatives, an open casket, because their relative had been squished in this pile because there were so many bodies. So FEMA came up with this idea, hey, how about storage container type things, so that when you find a body you can put it in there. Also, if it turns out they were in some sort of weird true crime plot, murdered during this, and they used the hurricane as coverage.
Some kind of hypersleep and they're still alive.
That's right. Yeah, it's the modern version of hanging attaching a bell to their finger and running the string up through the ground, and like.
Oh, I would get such a blister ringing that bell.
If you were alive, yeah. That's a whole other issue. But the idea was that everything is a conspiracy at this point, to the point where it's, and we now know that Russia, China, and arguably Iran and some semblance of Saudi Arabia's intelligence community have been fomenting these conspiracy theories in the United States for the better part of 15 years.
Right,
Since Zeitgeist came out, they've been like, okay, this is sweet. It's working. It's absolutely taken hold. The problem they are now realizing is that the internet is endless. Even as much as you might want to contain that stuff within the United States and make the United States the bad guy in this, we now know that Russia has a 35% vaccination rate, and they're having to shut their economy and their schools down for another 2 weeks because the people of Russia think that it's a big conspiracy, because you cannot
Blowback. You can't contain that.
You cannot contain it. That's right. You cannot. Paranoia is the one uncontrollable force in the universe.
Yeah, fear is super good.
Yes, fear is, and it's cheap.
Yes.
It's reliable.
It doesn't have to be logical.
That's right. The illogic of it on the bigger scale, the crazier it sounds, the more. That's exactly how you know it's real. We got to take a break. We're gonna just chat through all breaks and just have a hangout and stuff, and here we are.
About, like the split second with Zoom or whatever we're using, messes with the timing.
It does, absolutely. And together in the room, there is something special. I'm just saying, I'm going to have to move all of you to a compound in Montana.
God, we all have to move to Montana.
That's
now?
right. Yeah,
We're
going to live in a gored out. We have to take a break. We'll be back right after this. It's the Houseworks Radio program, Megaworldwide, on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Currently live in Chicago. I can't believe it. It's great. We'll be back.
Someone called saying that YouTube didn't feedback.
Oh, I don't doubt it. It's going to just be I'm just using the hi, Lady B, yay, yay.
I didn't meet my goal though.
Hey, goals overlap and you grow on them, make them better, refine yourself. You're doing great.
The tea and the black tea works.
Yes, see?
I love it. I'm like, so no more coffee.
All right. Yeah, you do. It's true.
Oh my God.
How's everybody?
Making you use your inhaler today at some point.
Yes.
Wait a minute. I gotta go back to my
Oh no.
car. No, don't do that. Not yet.
Not yet. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, we'll talk to you in a minute. After
Are you out?
Yeah, me and Paul tag team the show now, so.
Aw, bye, David.
Nice to meet both of you again.
Yeah,
Love
cheers.
to make you laugh in person.
Much love.
I'll be in the back for a few more minutes.
Okay, cool. Hi, chat room. Hold on, I have to open up my chat in here somehow. I'll put it on this guy. Cool. I know there's a little bit of odd audio, guys, in the chat room because we're just using the mics on the computer. Yeah. Oh. Hi. Oh, I almost had you. I saw you calling, and then it took me a second. Hold on. I have to open in browser. There we go. Now, looks like a feedback loop. I see. Hold on one second. No, I will fix it. Hold on. We're gonna take that for granted.
What?
And we're gonna take your own break after a while. So I think
Should I keep my eye on the chat?
no Al audio, can't hear the looping. This is crazy. Sorry. That's very strange. No sound, just an awful. Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, that's
I
really
see.
bad. No
That's
sound.
not. That's terrible. Okay, I will fix that. Hold on one second.